Hey, dear beloveds. Let me just get myself comfortable. Slightly weird angle because my whole setup is being a bit challenged because I've got broken equipment. But here I am. I am doing the first live on this page since we announced that the Institute is celebrating its 5th birthday this month. All of July we are devoting to this kind of epic, really epic achievement, and it feels worthy of celebrating. So I'm kind of inventing things as we go along, but there's some very special things that I've got to share with you, including showcasing the amazing graduates of the 3rd level program. We've also got an incredible creation from Christy Jameson. I asked her for a logo or some kind of design to help celebrate the Institute's 5th birthday, and she came back with something not what I was expecting and far more exciting, and that is going to be announced in this week's newsletter, and then we'll be sharing it all over our social media. So I'm very excited about that. Of course, in the I Am Spiritually Fierce group, we're inviting you to share using the hashtag celebrating5 your initial connection to the Institute and to me. So how did you find us? Where did this Institute come along? What role does it play in your life? So far, the stories that I am reading are just blowing me away. And you know, sometimes you hear a story and then you forget it. And sometimes I'm like, I never heard this story. I didn't know how this person found me. But I'm so glad they did. So that is what is happening so far. More information will be coming each week. We're going to spend this whole month celebrating the achievement of now being a really globally established institute, training women as qualified intuitive guides in a way that I don't think happens anywhere else in the world. And I'm incredibly proud of what we have done. But what I wanted to do today was I started sharing on Ricky Jane Adams, on that Facebook page, a little bit about how we made the name change that we made. So it's a fairly big deal when you've got an established business to decide to change your name, but that's exactly what we did. I took on the Institute wholly and solely in July 2015, hence the reason that we're having our 5th birthday. For the first year, I had run the business with my mother and my sister. And if you've read Spiritually Fierce, you'll know the story of how the Institute came to be. I might share that again, but I really want to share with you the story of the name that we originally had and how we moved to what we are called now. So the original name, if you don't know, was Lightworker Institute. And that really came out of, the establishment of the Institute in the first instance was really as a gift to my mother. It was a creation for her, and that word really resonated for her. And, I liked it. I liked the sound of having an institute. I liked that name. At the time, that was back in 2014. But when I took over in July 2015, I realized that I wasn't necessarily feeling as connected to it. But it wasn't until I worked with my lawyer, the amazing Michelle Whitehead, to trademark our name. And she came back and basically said, look, Lightworker is too generic a term. And of course, the last thing that I wanted to be was generic. And so I worked with Michelle through that process, because with trademarking, there's, you've really got to prove that there's something there that is different, unique, original. And so I really sat with, okay, what is it that I want to represent in the name of the business? If we're going to go through this process of changing our name, which is a big deal, we had I Am a Lightworker, we had the website, we had all of our branding, we had beautiful branding done. It's going to be a big deal to change it, but I really listened to Michelle and felt that sense of, I want something that's reflective of what we stand for. And Lightworker at the time, I think it's a generally accepted spiritual term, but it is really generic, and it can also, as I shared earlier, kind of be associated with a lot of the spiritual bypassing, a lot of the whole love and light, but avoid the hard, heavy lifting of actually sweating for God. And, I really realized that I was so willing. As soon as Michelle said, you're not going to be able to trademark this, I was like, I'm done. Let it go. I want to move forward. I want to create something that is congruent with the vision of the Institute. We are here to lead a revolution in excellence in the intuitive sciences. We can't be sitting inside of a well-worn, kind of boring idea that isn't going to spark people in the way that I want them to be sparked. So how did we then come up with the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence? Because they're really not, it's not like we kind of just changed one word or anything. For me, it was a really beautiful moment of synchronicity. So when I was a little girl, my mum had a spiritual friend, her name was Shanaira, and Shanaira created these incredible cards called the Ascension cards. And I don't think they're made anymore, but they were really deep, profound ways of working with consciousness. And anyway, I still have these cards. I still carry them around. I could probably go and find it for you now. This card I picked out of the pack one day. I was like, really sitting with this. Well, who are we? What are we going to be called? How do I represent the revolution that I want to lead in the way we understand intuition and consciousness? And I pulled out of this card pack a card that was entitled Intuitive Intelligence. And that's the first time I'd heard that term. And, at that time, that term wasn't being used anywhere else. We were the first people to use that term on Instagram, for example. We created the hashtag, but it's used very widely now. But if you were to Google intuitive intelligence or kind of look for it, inside of a spiritual context, there really wasn't anyone using that idea. And even now, we are one of the only, I think we're the only organization in the world that uses intuitive intelligence in our title. So I just absolutely fell in love with it. And I knew that this was a gift from Shanaira and a really profound opportunity to really articulate what is intuitive intelligence versus intuition, because that's the whole message that I share, and that is that it's an intuition plus spiritual fierceness that creates this intuitive intelligence, which is a switched on, turned on intuition that it doesn't come and go, it's there all of the time. And so the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence was born. Of course, we could trademark that because no one was using it. And it felt really important that even though at the time I was only doing one-to-one work, I wasn't even yet teaching, I knew that was the future. And I knew the future of the Institute was something that the business was greater than me. It wasn't just a sole trader model. It was growing a legacy, growing an institute that thousands of women ideally will walk through the doors of that institute and to really create a place virtually that really expresses the highest possible standard of training in the intuitive sciences. And that was what I felt was represented by the name Institute for Intuitive Intelligence. Yes, it's a mouthful. Yes, my email address is 3 days long. Yes, I wish I'd created a shorter email address, but the idea of the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence has just been so profoundly powerful for me. We got a beautiful new logo from our amazing designer, and it really just, even the logo, we have two logos now. We have a round one because social media needs that, was created by Christy Jameson, and then we have this very architectural, very structured one, which really represents the fact that even though we're virtual, we are this kind of anchored in institute. And now as we hit 5 years, I really feel that. I feel like we can kind of go, okay, we've done this. We've created something that has legacy, that is greater than just me as an individual, that its reputation precedes it as a training organization for the highest possible standard of training in the intuitive sciences, training women globally as clinically trained, qualified intuitive guides to the highest possible standard. Like, this is not a enroll and qualify course. Like, ask any of the women in the program. They work their asses off for this qualification. And what they are training in is not just a modality. It's not even two modalities. It's this huge undergraduate program in profound classic spirituality and understanding the cosmic laws, and then training in tools and techniques that will move people from fear to love in the most efficacious way. And that's really the journey, right? We want to move our clients from fear to love, and really working through all the bullshit that exists in the world around what an intuitive guide is and how they should be working. We are not fortune tellers, we're not future predictors, we're not psychics, we're not trying to take people's personal power or even help them abdicate responsibility for themselves. Our task is to take people into the depths of their being, to take them on a journey to the underworld of their subconscious, to meet those fears that are preventing them from being the guru, the authority, the intuitive guide of their own life. And so our very task is to make ourselves obsolete. Like, we really get to a point where we want our clients not to need us anymore because we've activated the intuition in them so profoundly. So the work that we do, I believe, is unlike anything else out there in the world. I believe we are a world-leading training organization, and that we're just going to keep growing. You know, our commitment to excellence is at the heart of everything we do, and the rigor and the assessment process and the deep thinking into why and how and what, the research. You know, we've just appointed our first ever research fellow, Dr. Nikki Schoendorfer. We now are working with Alicia Halpin on creating this entire assessment overview and philosophy that's about sovereignty. We're really, really working to enhance every aspect of our programs to ensure the highest quality standard. And, you know, that just blows me away. Like, I feel so proud of that creation, and just seeing what our future holds. The future's bright, baby. You better wear shades, because we are just going to keep on expanding, because the world needs this level of congruence in the training. We need to look at our trinkets and superstitions. We need to put down our comfort zone. We need to stop looking to have our spirituality as some kind of, you know, retail therapy that comforts our littleness, and instead to be called into the action of meeting ourselves as God, which is the truth of why we're here and the truth of what we do. So that's all I wanted to share with you. That is how the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence got its name. Before that term became trendy, it's now everywhere, and I'm so excited to say we're a huge part of that. But to me, that stands for, you know, the idea of intuition beyond it being a trinket and superstition, but a living, breathing system that you are never separate from. You never have to ask a question. You inhabit that state of being all of the time, and meeting and releasing subconscious fear is how we do that, right? So happy to share that with you. I'll keep sharing, you know, behind the scenes of the Institute memories. All of you are sharing your memories of how you connected to me or to the Institute. Please go into I'm Spiritually Fierce and do that. Celebrating 5, use that hashtag. Let us know how you found us, how you became part of that community. It doesn't matter if you paid for our programs or you're just part of the I'm Spiritually Fierce group. You're still a living, breathing member of our community, and you're precious to us. And please make sure that you open your newsletter from us this week, because the incredible Christy Jameson creation, I won't reveal what it is, will be revealed in there before we share it publicly, and it's gonna be amazing. So much love to you all, and I'll keep sharing more and more from behind the scenes. If you've got any questions, if you want to know how did that happen, where'd that come from, what are you doing with that, just ask. I'd love to answer any questions you have. So much love.